Telling stories has been fun for you? Working in the entertainment industry, not so fun? I think that was a quote from you somewhere.
Yeah, I think at some point when you're banging your head against the wall and you're trying, and that is, I mean, that is a career. That is what you do. If you want to be successful, you keep writing and you keep banging your head against that wall until something goes. The thing that crossed my mind, because I had some friends die young, was that I was relatively young, and was I going to die typing and not making anything? Like all I want, like I wrote to have 3 shorts made because I just wanted to have something made. Like just, while I'm typing, I just want to see this happen. And then when I saw it happen, like I literally could not go to the screening because I was so angry at how bad everything was. And so I think at some point I was just like, literally like, fuck this. Why am I doing this? This has been years. And I have gone through managers and ups and downs and projects that were going to be huge and not, little tiny things happen, but not enough for a career. Not enough to, all you're doing is stringing together a bunch of temp jobs. That is what the entertainment industry is. It is a bunch of temp jobs. Yeah, maybe you get lucky enough to be on a show that lasts for years, but most of the time, these are temp jobs. You're working one day, maybe a week, maybe a few months, and then there's no work. And sometimes you have a great gig and you make a ton of money, and then nothing happens ever again. And that is a reality that happens. No one wants to talk about it because no one wants to hear, there's this really good possibility that you're going to spend all your time and all your life and all this time, nothing's going to happen. And that's it. And you're going to look back and you're going to think, hey, that was a lot of money. That was a lot of time. Wow. So that was my life. Huh. Interesting. Maybe I want to change things up a little bit. And the most fun I had was when I said, fuck it. The most fun I had, that's when things started going together. That's when things started it seemed effortless when I stopped looking for people to say yes to a script. When I was just like, I'm making this, do you want to help? Changes everything. And then when you make something and it doesn't suck, and then you can use that to make something else, and then that doesn't suck, and then you use that, and then you're slowly building these little tiny increments until you have a couple hours online of a bunch of stuff you've made. And then it exists and people see it and it doesn't disappear. And what's amazing is, and the thing that you do not know when you make anything online, is stuff that I made in 2006. I got a comment on last week.
Oh, wow.
So that's the thing that nobody tells you, like, this, YouTube's not going anywhere. It's not going, and as far as I know, they're not cleaning out the old stuff. So if you have your short up there, yeah, maybe it doesn't have 20 billion views. Maybe it didn't go viral, maybe whatever. Maybe it doesn't suck. Maybe it will entertain, amuse, whatever, someone. Why did you start to do this to begin with? And I started to do this because I was like, I love when I'm sitting down and something happens on a screen or on a stage and it makes me feel different. I want to be able to create that. How do I do that? Spend fucking decades typing and stand-up and acting, and like going to school for photography really came in handy when I was a director, because all of a sudden the SLR was a video camera. And I'm like, yeah, I know that all these numbers, I've had them memorized forever. Like I can tell everybody what f-stop to go to because I knew it when I was 11. Like, so it made all this stuff really easy. I knew focal lengths and all that stuff, none of it. I knew the shape of 35 millimeter because I had been taking pictures and trying to fit the world in that. So I was one up on everybody. I didn't need a director of photography because they'd taken so many great pictures because I spent years learning how to do it. So now I'm just making ones that move. That's why I never went tripod, because I'm like, I want to be able to get whatever I want, whenever I want it. I do not want to tripod around. It's too slow. It's too slow. I want 3 cameras, 2 operators here. I'm operating, boom. Cover, 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 cover. Next.
Did your parents like their jobs?
You know, yeah, my father, I think I did to some degree, and I think my mother tolerated it, I guess. They both came from poor backgrounds, and my father was worked in construction as a plumber, union, down Ossining area, and my mother worked on an assembly line for IBM, and then worked her way up to be a CAD operator, and then both of them got screwed over. They forced everybody into retirement, and then hired people back as temps to train the replacements.
Oh, wonderful.
And then the union was starting to run out of money and started cutting off, benefits and stuff. So I think when I saw them get screwed, I was just like, I'm not going to work my ass off so I can be a cog in somebody else's machine. That is the one great thing that came from my parents going, like, they did all the right things. American dream, high school educated family. We all went to college, house. They did everything right. Still got screwed. So I didn't want to do that.
So do you think that's what kind of like lit a fire under you to say, okay, I'm going to go from wherever to Boston, do some stuff. Okay, then I'm going to take this chance. This person communicated with me, said, come to LA. And so you knew that that's not the life for Joe Wilson. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm not going to work for some company and then be politely or not so politely pushed out the door.
Yeah, that was the goal. I did end up working for a company for 11 years that I own a little tiny piece of that was started by writers and actors that's still in business. So it's not like I'm against, I'm not like, damn the corporations. I just know what happens to companies when they get big. When companies get big, they care less about people. When Ford had the Pinto in the 70s and when people hit it and it blew up, Ford said, well, we can either recall and pay for that or we can just pay for all the lawsuits. And they chose the lawsuits. And they're still in business. Amazing. I have one of their cars.
So do you ever go back and say, well, I know I'm typing at this one desk and here I'm wearing this one metaphorical hat as this job, and then I'm turning around and I'm typing at this other desk as a, quote, creative storyteller. Even if I don't make $1 million right away or in the next 20 years, I still want to do this. Or ever, I still want to do this because this is who I am and I can't stop telling stories and I don't want to have a job that I hate that I have to go to and I have to smile at people and make it seem like I want to be there and I don't really want to be there. And my boss is an idiot and I'm having meetings about meetings, but I didn't do this screenwriting, so I've given up. I think there's a question in there.
I'm pulling it
Sorry.
out. I don't know, say that.
Well, I guess my question with all that jabbering that I'm doing is like, even if there isn't Hollywood putting a stamp, even though people loved Vampire Mob and it has views and people gave you feedback.
Yeah, sure.
If you want to do a second version of something, but no, because Hollywood said they didn't want me, so quote unquote, I'm not touching that again. Is that where you're at?
I guess I got there years ago to not acknowledge the entertainment industry, to kind of like, if I could make something without it, then, and the end result, it was sort of like, I needed to get to the audience. And the thing that was between me and the audience was all the companies that make the shit to show to the audience. So if I could find some way to get around them and get to the audience, which social media allowed, and I've had people and continue to have people find stuff and like stuff, and you make somebody laugh when they're having a bad day or a bad life or a bad time. And I know my wife was diagnosed with cancer a few years ago, and I know how much comedy really can help. Like, I have seen it firsthand. So there's a value in making stories, you know, whether it's drama or comedy or whatever the genre. But I think, you know, now because I think the number of guest star performances to be considered for Emmys was 2,800 and something performances. So if you have that many potential nominees for guest, when you have thousands of performances, now you have literally, there are more shows than anyone can get to in their lifetime if they wanted to do it full time and just watch television. They couldn't get to it all. So now I'm making more stuff for them to watch. Why? Why am I going to make something that I have to be in the same boat that Netflix and everyone else is? Like, how do you get that much attention? Like, everyone is so Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. What, I gotta watch something? What? Oh, there's something wrong? Yeah, basically. How do you get their attention? I think if you're going to be indie, that you have to spend years getting to know your audience and talking to, and I have changed my term a little bit in terms of audience, because now I see the people I know online as neighbors, because I talk to them all the time. You don't talk to audience all the time. Audience is this thing that's over there and you're over here, and I think a lot of people like that. A lot of people like, hey, I'm over here, you're over there. I act, you stay over there. I'm a director, you stay over there. When you talk to people every day, because you're not making everything all the time, like I don't care how good of a producer you are, you're not putting out movies all the time as an indie person. So there's going to be all this time that you're not going to have something new. And if you're spending all your time on social media talking about your fucking project, Jesus Christ, really? More? Tell us more. You typed another page. Yay, come on. That is not, I know it interests you and I know it's a great thing for you, but you're just typing. You know, you finished a screenplay. Okay, I'll give you that. But I did another 1,000 words. Shut up. Tell me about the 1,000 words after you've done 50,000, and then 100,000, and then 300,000. Then maybe you can talk about the words a little bit. But just because you typed all November to get a novel out doesn't mean you made anything good. It just means you typed every day. I don't know what that tangent was about.
That's okay. I enjoyed it.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I know there was a point to this.
It was therapeutic.
I think a story can have a value without the entertainment industry. And the entertainment industry doesn't value stories, they value profit. The Marvel Universe is a very big, complicated story, but that is something that has an audience that was built in for decades. And you only market at a level that is saturation when you're playing with literally billions of dollars. But all that's for other people. That's not for me. That's not for most people. That's the giant machine. That is, you will be a cog in that machine unless you're on screen. You will be, because it's just too big. And even if you are on screen, you're still really disposable, because that is, Disney has bought the world, and that is really valuable property right now.
Just like in Say Anything, and forgive me, I'm blanking on John Cusack's character. But he's basically, I don't want to, produce anything.
I remember that.
I don't want to, buy anything that,
When he's talking to her dad at dinner.
Right. Aren't we all sort of owned by somebody, though? I don't care if we work for Marvel and and we're on the red carpet and they want your picture, or you're working for a company.
Yeah, you got to work. You have to work for somebody.
Yeah, we all are
I
kind of owned by
started an online reselling business to sell stuff to make money that way. So all of my customers are technically my boss.
Sure.
I don't think, nor do I expect what I make to generate enough income for me to live on what I do online. It's just like anything else. It's a gig. just a little gig. You do something, maybe make a tiny little bit of money, and then got to put another one together and another one together. And I was on a roll when my wife had cancer. That roll, the wind and the sails stopped, and storytelling was not important anymore, and was not a priority, and was not anything that I thought about for a long time, because I had other stuff that was more important. And I think the other thing about this is that sometimes, and I've seen people do it to their demise, literally, sometimes people make the entertainment industry and success in it more important than anything else, including other people. And at some point, you're going to end up being an empty shell of a human being at the other end of it. And you will, maybe you won't regret it, but man, you're going to be bitter as hell. Because it's just, when the socializing in Los Angeles is based on perceived success, whether it's current, recent, or about to happen, and people, I've had and it's the classic thing, you're at the party and someone's talking to you, but they're like, oh, that person's way more important. I really need to go talk to that person, but yeah, I'll be right with you. And then they go talk to that person. Or the classic, hey, are you gonna come to my show? Now, when is that? No, is it all right if I show up late? Oh no, I think I have this thing. I'll try to be there. Okay, that's an LA. Definitely. So you're definitely gonna be there then. Definitely, probably trying to maybe be there. Yeah, maybe. But I'll try. Thank you. They're not showing up. I remember when I was doing stand-up comedy, everybody was doing one-man shows or one-per-solo shows. So everybody was just trading off. Everybody's just going to each other's shows because we needed an audience. And because there's just so many comedians and there was so little audience in Los Angeles.
It's gotten that way with crowdfunding. It's like you want to donate to people's campaigns, but after a while, we just had another guest that reminded me of that. And that's a great point, that you want to be able to give to these campaigns over and over again, but you've already given to so many and you're kind of like tapped out. Yeah. I think that's part of the problem. But going back to storytelling, do you plan on giving up storytelling?
No. When I was doing Vampire Mob, one of the cast members, Marsha Wallace, died. And I had written a whole season 3, and the idea of trying to make it without her seemed weird. Like, I easily could have written her out, I easily could have cast someone else. And it was just kind of like, this isn't, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. So I went graphic novel. I went comic book. And I don't know anything about comic books. I didn't grow up reading comic books. I'm not a comic book guy. So then I had to learn about comic books, learn how to write comic books. And man, I wish I had done that like before I ever took a screenwriting class. Because for you to have to, so I'm adapting a screenplay into a comic book. So I have it all written, but it can't just get dropped. It isn't like I'm just taking the script and then, oh, look, it's a storyboard with words. It's like you have to go through and like, what are the 5 panels that you're going to put on this page that are going to tell the story? And you're going to have to leave most of it out because you can't have this giant long thing because you want to watch your character walk through the alley for an hour. You've got to go. So it changes how you see story. Now all of a sudden you think, oh, I want this panel on this page to end. So when they turn the page and they see that top panel, the surprise will be there. You're literally writing like that. There's no plot points, it's page points. And the challenges with making graphic novel, I just put in issue 2 to the printer. So the second issue will be coming out soonish. The challenge is working with artists, getting artists. I can't draw. The frustration, to be honest, putting the 2 books together has resulted in me writing a book. So I am 45,000 words into something called Bob Berry's Things. It was an idea I had a couple of years ago, and I just needed somewhere to go. Like when I'm writing, I disappear completely. Is the way I look at it. I'm daydreaming on a page. Writing is orchestrated daydreaming. I'm just daydreaming. It's not hard to daydream, so it's really easy, and I like it. And now it takes a long time to write a book, and I expect like 50 people to read it. And that's my expectation. And maybe my expectation will be beat, but I'm asking somebody to not only take time out of their day, but a lot of time to read a book. So I don't have any expectation. I don't know what people will, I didn't write this from a marketing point, a genre point, anything like that. It was just an idea, and I ran with it. And the weirdest thing is I listen to the book. I have the program read it back to me. So it's sort of like an audiobook being read by a robot. And I listen to what I wrote. And then I hear what's wrong with it. And then I can go back and change it that I never would see if I was just reading. And even if I was reading it loud, I wouldn't catch it like that.